You, thus far, has not disappointed me. I watched the first 5 episodes and I must say, I shocked myself by guessing who I thought it was from the beginning, and I wonder if you did the same. I'm conflicted about spoiler alerts and teasers. But, for my viewers that might want a little something, I felt it absolutely necessary to provide a brief synopsis of what I thought of Season 4 thus far. I'm digging it, and if it wasn't for Netflix forcing me to exercise self-control, I hate to say on Super Bowl Sunday, I would probably still be watching You. But that's not what we're here to discuss. Welcome back to Ivy Joe's Reviews, where I'll provide a synopsis of You, Season 4, from episodes 1 to 5. I want to ask you, if you got this far in You, what were your thoughts? Were you caught off guard by the decoys, the plants? Or did you really stop and think about the information you had beforehand, without becoming distracted by the number of suspects, their personalities, money, and status? By episode 3, I found myself taking note of the various misdirection introduced, which in my opinion, every good mystery and whodunit must have. If not for that, what would be the allure of a good mystery? What would make it so fun, so interesting? Even more so than previous seasons, You gave me more Dexter vibes than any other season. Joe's search in France and London was to locate Marion. But instead, he has stepped into a fresh heap of trouble. He started off on one trail, then found himself buried in the world of mess, but this time, not by his own hand or direct actions. Joe is thrown into it because of his previous situations. Some may call it karma, or as discussed with his class in episode 1, maybe this is something that he must endure for redemption, for love's sake. While binging, my thinking was that the suspect has to be somebody that is smart, patient, and psycho enough to pull off the task at hand. The suspect must embody hatred, ill will, and venom to successfully take the time and plant evidence, follow Joe, intermingle in the lives of all of the potential suspects, blend in the most sociopathic ways, and not be caught. Many of the elite in Joe's new social group are so narcissistic that the last thing that they would concern themselves with is the depths and lengths necessary to frame Joe. Therefore, from the onset of episode 1, I had my eyes on one person and one person only, and we learn by episode 5, spoiler alert ahead, that the suspect that has been taunting, stalking, and framing Joe is none other than Reese. I'm intrigued on seeing Reese's character in action, now that we know he's thus far You. At the moment, I do not believe Reese's backstory. I do not believe that he really is the son of a duke. Because of my disbelief, I went back to the first episode of Season 4, to pause the screen and read the article that Joe read about Reese and his father. Within that same article is a reference to DNA research, and its benefits to the royal, through the confirmation of blood relatives. However, the article also alludes that the Duke did not confirm Reese was his son through DNA. The article mentions the Duke did not feel the need to forego the process. Also, with Reese being a writer, it is easier for him to contrive an entire story, invade the rich, and implement his devious plan. As in the likes of a Batman story with a villain, Reese has now become the criminal and the savior, as he kills for in his eyes justice, and yet is running for mayor, to fight for the very people who are in fear. A vigilante for justice. Kind of gives Batman and Red Hood vibes. A few final thoughts. My disappointments thus far are few. In fact, I am really enjoying the pacing of the season. However, I am not excited about the direction that Sean Pertwee's character took. In my opinion, it was a complete waste of an actor. I just wish he could have stayed around a little longer. But nonetheless, I enjoyed seeing him in You. He has a lot of projects going on right now, so I'm sure he has more on the docket. Also, Simon and Gemma won't be missed. I knew before they were killed that they were not murderers. Their roles did exactly what a good whodunit does, add to the number of suspects, and start subtracting by their deaths, so that we the audience can narrow down the suspect list. Of course, I can only speculate what's next in the second half of You, but tell me, do you think I'm off in my assessment? What's your theory on the direction that You is taking us? Do you think that Marion and the hitman will reappear this season? Does Nadia have a more pressing part to play? Why do you think they reveal Love Quinn, from Season 3, in the upcoming trailer? And last but definitely not least, while scrolling through social media, I saw someone comment that they didn't believe that Reese's interaction with Joe is real. For example, like Dexter seeing and speaking with his deceased adoptive father, Harry, who understood that Dexter had a homicidal side, and tried to instill ways into Dexter that will help him use his dark side, his dark passenger, for good. Could this be the direction You is taking us? I may just drop a video on that theory, which I think is an interesting take. Time will tell, but whatever the case, I am here for it. Please share your comments and thoughts below, and as always, thank you for watching Ivy Joe's Reviews.